There was once a little girl named Lola, a bright Yoruba child with ribbons in her hair and sunlight on her skin. Her laughter danced through the garden, a melody of innocence untouched by the world. Among the fountains and flowers she chased a butterfly, her joy painting the air with light. But sometimes, even in the brightest gardens, shadows find a way to fall. And on that golden afternoon, a quiet shadow changed everything. Years passed, and the garden of her laughter faded into dust. The little girl who once chased butterflies now sat beside broken stools. The heiress of wealth became a beggar of crumbs, her eyes carrying stories she could no longer tell. The world had turned its face away, yet, somewhere within her, the light of that same child still refused to die. Her hands were empty, but her spirit unbroken. And in the silence of the crowd, Lola waited for the world to remember her name. Sometimes the past hides in plain sight. Lola's steps slowed before a wall of colour and paper, posters worn by time, whispering forgotten stories. Then she saw it, the man in the picture, his eyes, his smile, the same eyes that once lifted her high above the garden fountains. Her heart trembled. Memories flickered like broken light. Could it be? The father she thought the world had taken from her, standing beside another woman, smiling, as if nothing was ever in the hall filled with music. In a hall of gold and laughter, Lola walked in, uninvited. The music paused. Every gaze turned toward the door, and there she stood, the lost daughter of the house, dust on her skin, pain in her eyes. Whispers filled the air like wind through broken glass, and before her, the man she once called Baba, now dressed for another woman's joy. Mr. Oladipo was confused. Could that be her? Arrogant Mrs. Folashade furious at the sight of unpleasant at what should be her perfect day. The crowd saw a beggar. He saw a memory. Sometimes the heart remembers, even when the years have passed like dust in the wind. As the crowd turned away, an old voice from the corner of the hall grew still. Fate guided her to an old heart that still remembered her name. His eyes, weary but kind, found her face. That face. The same smile he once saw running through the garden, calling him Baba Ade, laughing under the mango tree. The years had changed her, but her mother's eyes had not forgotten how to shine. And in that golden hour, the old servant knew the lost child had come home. And then time stood still. The man on the stage, Mr. Oladipo, froze as the truth struck his heart. One look at her eyes, and he knew. The little girl he thought he'd lost forever now stood before him, grown but broken, yet alive. He ran, past the crowd, past the music, past the lies. Lola, my child! His arms wrapped around her fragile frame, as if holding the years he had missed. The hall fell silent, until tears became applause. Once the world was too loud for her fragile heart, but now silence feels like peace. The girl who once wandered the streets in dust and hunger now stands on the balcony of her heritage. She breathes in the glow of dreams fulfilled. The city lights awaken beneath her, like stories waiting to be told. With quiet strength in her heart, and the memory of her past in her eyes, she smiles. Not because the pain is gone, but because she has become more than it. This is her dawn, her horizon, her home.